At exactly midnight, my wife kissed another man, and then spent the rest of the night convincing me it never happened. That sentence sounds clean when I say it now, like it's been ironed, folded, and placed neatly in a drawer. That's not how it felt. It felt like someone unplugged the room from reality for half a second, and I was the only one who noticed the lights flicker. We were at our friend's place, just a warm, crowded apartment with Christmas lights still up because nobody has the energy to take them down before January. There were plastic cups, champagne that tasted like regret, and a speaker in the corner trying to win a war against 30 human voices. It was the kind of New Year's party people describe as cozy, which is adult code for too many bodies and not enough oxygen. My wife, Claire, looked incredible. She always did when she wanted to. That's not me simping. That's me being objective. If there were an Olympic sport for walking into a room and immediately becoming the focal point, she'd have a gold medal and a sponsorship. She wore a dress that wasn't technically sparkly, but it caught light like it was flirting with the concept. Her hair was done, her makeup was effortless in that way that takes 45 minutes and 3 brushes. She moved through the crowd like she belonged to it. I, on the other hand, was wearing my best "I'm fun at parties" face, which is a special mask men learn to put on somewhere between their first corporate holiday party and their first argument about why they don't open up enough. I held a drink I didn't want, laughed at jokes I didn't hear, and did the kind of small talk that makes you understand why people in history started wars instead of networking. The first time I noticed him, it wasn't dramatic. There was no ominous soundtrack, no slow zoom. It was just pattern recognition. His name was Ethan. I'd met him a few times. He wasn't a close friend of ours, but he was close enough to be in the social orbit. A coworker of one of the hosts. The kind of guy who always seems to be present at gatherings like a decorative plant. He was tall, well-dressed, that annoying mix of laid-back and intentional. Like he didn't try, but also definitely tried. And Claire was giving him attention. Not the polite attention you give someone who's telling a story and you're trapped. It was something sharper. She'd laugh a little louder at his jokes. She'd touch his arm when she spoke. She'd angle her body toward him even when she was talking to someone else. Tiny things. Micro details. The kind you don't mention because you'll sound insane. The kind you file away because you're not trying to be that guy. I watched her brush his sleeve like she was removing dust that wasn't there. I watched him lean in too close and her not step back. And I felt that familiar, annoying sensation in my chest. The one that says, "Hey, your life might be changing. Isn't that fun?" I tried to pull Claire aside once, just a little check-in, a casual, normal husband move. "Hey," I said, stepping near her. "You good?" She smiled at me like I'd asked her if she wanted a refill of air. "Of course," she said. "Why?" "No reason, just, you've been kind of over here." Her eyes flicked to Ethan and back. She did a soft laugh, the kind that's meant to make you feel silly. "Don't be so serious," she said. "It's New Year's." There it was, the phrase. Don't be so serious. It's the verbal equivalent of patting a dog on the head. It doesn't answer anything. It just tells you your question was inappropriate. I nodded, took a sip of my drink. Ethan grinned at me. Not a smug grin, more like a neutral one. The kind you'd see on a guy who thinks everyone likes him. "Happy New Year, man," he said. "Yeah," I said. "Same." Claire slid away from me almost immediately, like my presence had an expiration date. She merged back into the crowd and into Ethan's gravity, and I stood there, holding my cup, watching my wife behave like a woman who had forgotten she was married. To be clear, I didn't start foaming at the mouth. I didn't slam my drink. I didn't grab her wrist. I didn't make some dramatic scene that would later be described as controlling by the same people who think lying is a form of self-care. I just watched. Because I've learned something in life. If you want the truth, don't interrupt it. Let it keep talking. As midnight got closer, the party got louder. People got clingier. Someone started a chant about shots. Someone else attempted to explain cryptocurrency to a woman who clearly wanted to be anywhere else. The hosts dimmed the lights like it was a nightclub. Somebody pulled up the official countdown on their TV. The screen glowed, and suddenly the whole room collectively decided the most important thing in the universe was the exact second a number changed. Claire wasn't near me. I moved through the crowd, but it was like wading through human furniture. I caught glimpses of her hair, her shoulder, her laugh, always with Ethan nearby. 10 minutes before midnight, I finally reached her. I leaned in. "Can I talk to you?" She didn't look annoyed. That would have been honest. She looked amused, like I was a child tugging on her sleeve during adult conversation. "What?" she asked. "Like, over here, for a second." She followed me 2 steps. "What's going on?" she asked, still smiling. I kept my voice calm. "You've been pretty focused on Ethan." Her smile tightened. "Oh my God," I blinked. "What? Seriously?" she said. "That's what this is?" "I'm asking a question." She rolled her eyes. "He's just fun. Relax." "I am relaxed." Claire tilted her head. "No, you're not. You're doing the thing. You're watching me like I'm about to commit a crime. I'm watching because you're acting different." Her eyes narrowed, just slightly. The warmth cooled. "Don't start," she said. "Start what?" "This," she said, gesturing vaguely, as if my words were smoke. "You always have to make something into something. That's another phrase. You always. Always is a weapon. It takes one moment and turns it into a personality flaw." I held her gaze. "I'm not making anything. I'm telling you what I'm seeing." Claire took a sip of her drink. "Well, maybe you're seeing wrong." I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was absurd how quickly she jumped to, "Your reality is incorrect." The TV in the corner began blasting the countdown graphics more intensely. People started gathering closer like moths. Claire's attention drifted away from me again, pulled by the room's excitement like a tide. "Don't be so serious," she repeated, like it was a magic spell. "It's New Year's." And then she was gone again, swallowed by the crowd. I stood there, watching her disappear into the sea of bodies, and I remember thinking, if something happens tonight, it's going to happen right in front of me. The countdown started. Someone shouted, "Everybody, everybody!" Phones came out, arms wrapped around shoulders. Couples formed little units. Strangers embraced like they'd survived something together. I tried to find Claire. I scanned the room, feeling my jaw tighten. 10, 9, 8. I spotted her, across the room, not with me, with Ethan. Their faces were close. Too close for someone you're not sleeping next to. 7, 6. I started moving, but people shifted. Someone bumped my shoulder. Someone threw an arm around me, screaming in my ear like we were lifelong friends. "Happy New Year, bro." 5, 4. I pushed through. Not aggressively, just determined. Like a man trying to reach the last train before it leaves. 3, 2, and then it happened. It's hard to explain what slow motion actually feels like in a moment like that. Movies lie. In real life, your body doesn't go poetic. It goes clinical. You notice details. You notice her hand on his chest. You notice her chin tipping up. You notice how his fingers landed on her waist like they belonged there. And you notice, because your brain is rude and specific, that she didn't hesitate. When the room screamed 1 and then erupted into Happy New Year, Claire kissed him. Not a peck, not a cheek kiss, not a we're all celebrating accident. A kiss. A long, intentional, full-mouth kiss. The kind you don't give someone by mistake. The kind you don't do unless you've done it before. The kind you only do when you're not worried about getting caught. Except she did get caught. Because I was standing there, finally close enough, and she didn't see me until the kiss ended. Her eyes opened, and for a fraction of a second, her face did something honest. Surprise. A flicker of oh. Then it vanished. Like she'd snapped a mask into place. She smiled. At me. Like nothing happened. My body didn't explode. I didn't shout. I didn't punch Ethan. I didn't throw a drink. I didn't do anything that would make a perfect viral clip for someone's story. I just walked up, calm, measured. The room was loud, so my voice didn't need to be loud. It could be sharp. "Claire," I said. She blinked. "Yeah?" "What was that?" Her face changed in a way that made my skin feel cold. Not guilt, not fear, annoyance. "What are you talking about?" she asked. I looked at Ethan. He had that same neutral grin, now slightly frozen, like he'd been caught mid-performance and wasn't sure what the next line was. "I just watched you kiss him," I said. Claire laughed. Actually laughed. She tilted her head. "No, you didn't." I stared at her. "I'm sorry?" She leaned closer, like she was trying to make sure I could hear her over the room. "You didn't. You're confused." "Confused?" I repeated. "Yeah," she said, still smiling. "It was crowded. People were hugging. You probably saw something and made it into a story." I looked at Ethan again. "Did she kiss you?" Ethan lifted his hands slightly, palms open. "Man, it's New Year's," he said. "Everyone's—" "Did she kiss you?" I asked again, slower. Claire's smile tightened. "Oh my God," she said. "Can you not do this right now?" "Do what?" I asked. "This," she said louder, so a couple nearby turned their heads. "Interrogate people? Like, what is wrong with you?" I let out a slow breath. My heart felt like it had turned into a piece of ice, not because I was numb, because I was very awake. "I saw you," I said. "You leaned in and kissed him." Claire stared at me like I'd claimed I saw a dragon in the kitchen. She shook her head. "You're being weird." "Weird," I repeated. "You had more to drink than you think," she said. "I'm not drunk." "Yes, you are," she said immediately. No hesitation, no checking, just diagnosis. I almost admired the speed. It was like watching someone flip a switch labeled, "Make him the problem." Ethan took a small step back, like he wanted to fade out of existence. Smart move. Not because he was innocent, because men like him don't like accountability. They like vibes. Claire put a hand on my arm. Her nails pressed lightly through my sleeve. "Come on," she said in that sweet voice she used for customer service and threats. "Don't ruin the night. Ruin the night." So now the kiss was nothing, but my reaction was a tragedy. I leaned closer. "Claire, don't do that." "Do what?" she asked, eyes wide. Innocent, surprised, actress ready for her close-up. "Don't pretend," I said. "Don't look at me like I'm insane." Claire's lips parted, like she was offended by the idea that she could ever be anything but honest. "Wow," she said. "So you're accusing me now?" "I'm not accusing," I said. "I'm describing." She laughed again, louder. A few people looked over. "Oh my God," she said to the room, like she needed witnesses. "He thinks I kissed Ethan." That sentence, delivered like a joke, was like pouring gasoline on the crowd. Someone chuckled. Someone said, "What?" Claire waved a hand. "He's being dramatic." I turned and saw one of her friends, Jenna, stepping closer. Jenna was the kind of woman who always seemed to be holding a glass of wine and a personal opinion. "What's happening?" Jenna asked. "Nothing," Claire said. "He's just—" "He kissed someone at midnight?" a guy nearby asked, half laughing. I looked at Claire. "Tell them what happened." She stared right back and said, without blinking, "Nothing happened." There it was. Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "It was a mistake." Not even, "It wasn't what you think." Nothing happened. The kiss wasn't the worst part. The denial was. Jenna frowned. "Wait, you actually think she kissed him?" "I don't think," I said. "I saw it." Jenna's eyebrows lifted. "It was super crowded. People were hugging and doing cheek kisses and—" "No," I said, cutting in. "This wasn't a cheek kiss." Claire sighed dramatically. "You're embarrassing me." I looked at her. "That's your concern?" "Yes," she snapped, "because you're making a scene." "I'm standing here," I said, talking, quietly. "You're confronting me in front of everyone," she said, voice rising. "Like I'm some, I don't know, criminal." "You kissed another man," I said. Claire turned to Jenna. "Do you hear this?" Jenna did a sympathetic face at Claire, then looked at me like I'd tracked mud into the house. Maybe you misunderstood, Jenna said. It's New Year's. People hug, people… I cut her off too. Stop. I know what I saw. Claire's eyes flashed. You always do this, she said. You always have to make something dark. You always assume the worst. You can't just relax. The crowd's attention was now in that uncomfortable zone where nobody was fully watching, but everyone was listening. Like a room full of people pretending not to eavesdrop while absolutely eavesdropping. I kept my voice even. Claire, why are you lying? Her mouth fell open. Lying? Yes, I said. Lying. Gaslighting. Pick your favorite word. Someone nearby made a small oof noise. That was cute, like they thought this was a debate team match. Claire's face hardened. You're unbelievable, she said. Am I? I asked. Or are you just mad I saw it? You didn't see anything, she snapped. That's your story? I asked. I hallucinated? Claire scoffed. Maybe you should drink water, or sit down. You're acting unstable. There it was. The final form. If your serious didn't work and your dramatic didn't work, we upgrade to you're unstable. I looked around. I saw a few faces, some uncomfortable, some curious, some quietly delighted, like they'd just gotten free entertainment. Ethan was gone now. Vanished. A magician's trick. Disappear when consequences appear. I looked back at Claire. So you're really going to do this, I said. You're going to stand here and tell me I didn't see what I saw. Claire crossed her arms. Yes. Just like that. No trembling, no shame. Just yes. Jenna touched Claire's shoulder. Claire, maybe you should just… Claire snapped her head at Jenna. No, I'm not apologizing for something I didn't do. Then she looked at me and said it, sharp and clean. This is why I can't relax around you. And there it was. The pivot. She wasn't the woman who kissed another man. She was the victim of a husband who won't let her relax. I stared at her, and something in me clicked into place. Not rage, not heartbreak, clarity. I'd been in arguments with Claire before, not about kissing other men, but about reality, about what she said versus what she meant, about how she could turn any conversation into a trial where I was always guilty of tone. This wasn't new. It was just finally visible. I swallowed the words I wanted to scream, because I realized the screaming would be used as evidence. So I did something she didn't expect. I stopped. I nodded slowly. Okay, I said. Claire blinked, thrown off for half a second. Okay? Yeah, I said, calm. You're right. I'm not going to ruin the night. Jenna exhaled like she'd been holding her breath. Claire's shoulders loosened like she'd just won, like my surrender was proof she was innocent. She leaned in slightly. Good, she said, because you were being ridiculous. I smiled. Not a real smile. More like the face you make when you see a price tag and decide you're not buying it. Happy New Year, I said. Then I turned and walked away. I didn't leave the party, not immediately. I stayed, because I wanted to see what happened next when the spotlight moved away. Claire didn't chase me. She didn't check on me. She didn't do the worried wife act. She went back to laughing, back to the room, back to living like nothing happened. And that's when the second wave hit. Not the kiss, the aftermath. Because when you're standing alone at a party with a drink in your hand, you have a lot of time to think. And thinking is dangerous when someone's been telling you not to trust your own eyes. I stood near the kitchen counter and watched people, listened to fragments of conversation, smiled politely when someone made eye contact like, "Are you okay?" I was okay. I was collecting. Claire moved around the apartment like a queen. She hugged people, clinked glasses, posed for pictures. She didn't look like a woman who'd just crossed a line. She looked like a woman who believed she could redraw the line and you'd stand there apologizing for having eyes. At one point, she drifted near me, still holding her drink. She leaned in and spoke softly, as if we were sharing a cute married moment. "Are you done?" she asked. I looked at her. "Done what?" "With Whatever that was, she said. Because that was humiliating. Sure, I said. I'm done. She studied me like she didn't trust it. Then she nodded, satisfied. Good, she said, because you really need to work on that. Work on that, like my perception was a bad habit. I smiled again. I'll put it on my list, I said. She missed the sarcasm, or chose to. Then she walked away. I spent the rest of the night in a quiet fog, not drunk, not emotional, just cold. Like my body had decided to protect me by shutting down the warmth. When we got home, the apartment felt too silent. The kind of silence that makes your footsteps sound like accusations. Claire kicked off her shoes and tossed her coat on a chair. Well, she said, that was fun until you decided to be weird. I set my keys down carefully. Weird, I repeated. Yes, she said, turning to face me. You accused me of cheating at a party, in front of everyone. I didn't accuse, I said. I described what I saw. She laughed, exhausted. You are still on that? I stared at her. You're still denying it? Claire's face tightened. Because it didn't happen. You kissed him, I said. At midnight. No, she said, crisp. I didn't. I watched her. The calmness, the certainty, the commitment. It was almost impressive. I took off my jacket and hung it neatly. I moved like a man who wasn't about to give her an emotional performance. Okay, I said. Claire blinked. Okay? Yeah, I said. If you say it didn't happen, it didn't happen. She stared at me, suspicious. Don't do that. Do what? That fake calm thing, she snapped. It's manipulative. I almost laughed out loud. Manipulative, I echoed. Right. Claire crossed her arms. I'm going to bed, she said. I nodded. Sure. She paused. She wanted a fight. She wanted my anger to validate her narrative. My calm was a problem because it didn't give her anything to twist. She narrowed her eyes. I can't believe you, she said quietly. You ruined New Year's. Then she walked to the bedroom and closed the door. I stood in the living room for a long moment, staring at the dark TV screen like it might show me a replay. Then I sat down, not because I was defeated, because I was thinking. There's a moment in a man's life where he realizes he's been treating a pattern like a coincidence, where he stops asking, why is this happening, and starts asking, how long has this been happening? I didn't sleep much. The next morning, Claire woke up acting normal. Not just normal, cheerful. Like the universe had been reset overnight. She made coffee. She hummed. She scrolled through her phone, smiling at something. I watched her and felt something strange. Not love, not hate. Distance. She glanced at me. Are you still mad? I'm not mad, I said. She frowned. Then what are you? I took a sip of coffee. Observant. She rolled her eyes. Don't be dramatic. There it was again, the greatest hits album. I set my mug down. Claire, I said, we need to talk about last night. She groaned like I'd asked her to do taxes. Oh my God, she said. You're still on that? Yes, I said. Because it happened. Claire's face turned annoyed, not guilty. It didn't, she said. You're making things up. I saw your hand on his chest, I said. I saw his hand on your waist. I saw you kiss him. She stared at me. You're obsessed, she said. Obsessed, I repeated. With my wife kissing other men? Claire scoffed. It was a crowded moment. People were hugging. Maybe I leaned in to say something and you... Stop, I said, calm but firm. Don't rewrite it. Her eyes flashed. I'm not rewriting anything, she snapped. I'm trying to explain to you that you're wrong. You're wrong, I repeated. Yes, she said. You had a few drinks and you got paranoid like you always do. I leaned back in my chair. So your official story is, I imagined it. Claire nodded, completely sincere. Yes. My jaw tightened. And Ethan? What about Ethan? He didn't deny it, I said. He just disappeared. Claire shrugged. Because you were being aggressive. I'd spoken in a low voice. I'd kept my hands to myself. I'd been a statue with a pulse. But sure, aggressive. I looked at her. Do you hear yourself? Claire's tone sharpened. Do you hear yourself? You're accusing me of cheating because I… What? Hugged someone at New Year's? You didn't hug him, I said. You kissed him. Claire slammed her mug down. No, I didn't. Silence filled the kitchen like smoke. Then she leaned forward, voice low, eyes hard. You need to let this go, she said, because if you keep pushing, you're going to make it worse. It wasn't a threat like in movies. It was a marital threat. The kind that says, I will punish you emotionally until you regret having a spine. I stared at her and realized something. This wasn't about whether she kissed him. This was about whether I was allowed to know the truth. I stood up. I'm going out, I said. Claire blinked. Where? Does it matter? I asked. She looked offended. Yes, it matters. We're married. I almost laughed. We're married, I echoed, and walked out. For the next few days, she acted like nothing happened. She posted New Year's photos. She laughed at comments. She sent emojis to friends. She kissed my cheek in passing like we were normal. If I tried to bring it up, she'd sigh like I was exhausting. She'd say, why are you doing this? She'd say, you need help. She'd say, you're paranoid. She'd say, you're ruining our marriage with your insecurity. It was almost comical how quickly the story turned into, my husband has a mental problem. And I'll admit, after enough repetition, your brain starts to itch. You start replaying the moment. You start asking, could I have misread it? Then you remember her hand, her body angle, the way she looked at you after. You don't hallucinate that. You just aren't supposed to see it. On January 3rd, a photo appeared. Not in my texts, not sent to me with a confession. It appeared the way inconvenient truths do in the modern world, as a casual post. One of the party guests, some guy named Mark, who took pictures of everything like he was documenting human existence, uploaded a photo album to social media. I wasn't even looking for evidence. I was scrolling mindlessly, half bored, half numb, when I saw it. A photo of midnight. The room in celebration. People hugging, confetti in the air, and there, in the middle of the frame, crystal clear, Claire kissing Ethan. Not a blur. Not an angle that could be misinterpreted. Not a cheek kiss. A kiss. Her hand on his chest. His hand on her waist. Her eyes closed. I stared at it for a long time. Not because I needed to confirm it. Because I needed to feel what it meant. The photo didn't hurt the way I expected. It didn't feel like a punch. It felt like a door locking. I saved it. Not dramatically. Not with trembling hands. Just saved it. Then I put my phone down and sat there in silence. When Claire came home later, she walked in smiling, talking about nothing. Work drama. A funny story. Something about someone's dog. She stopped when she saw my face. What? She asked. I picked up my phone, tapped it, and slid it across the table. Claire looked down. Her eyes landed on the photo. And for a split second, just a fraction, her mask slipped. I saw it. A flash of panic. Then she grabbed the phone and narrowed her eyes like a detective. What is this? She asked. I stared at her. That, I said, is reality. Claire scoffed. This is a weird angle. I laughed once, not loud, just a short sound. A weird angle, I repeated. Yes, she said quickly. People were crowded. It looks like you kissed him, I said. Claire's voice sharpened. Because you wanted to. Claire, I said, calm. Your eyes are closed. She blinked, thrown off for half a second. Then she recovered. So what? She snapped. I could have been laughing. Into his mouth, I said. Claire slammed the phone down. You're insane, she said. We'd moved from confused to unstable to insane. I nodded slowly. Okay, I said. Now we're at insane. Claire's face flushed. Why are you doing this? She demanded. Why are you trying to destroy us? I leaned forward. I'm not destroying anything, I said. You kissed him. You denied it. You told me I was imagining it. Claire's eyes glittered with anger. Because you were making a scene, she said. You were humiliating me. There it is again, I said. Humiliating you, not hurting me. Claire scoffed. Oh, please, don't act like you're some victim. I'm not acting, I said. I'm just not playing your game anymore. That landed like a slap. She stared at me, breathing faster. What game? This, I said, tapping the phone. This entire circus where you do something, then you tell me it didn't happen, then you tell everyone I'm crazy for noticing? Claire's voice rose. I didn't do anything. I held up the phone again. It's literally documented. She swatted my hand away. It's a photo, she shouted. Photos don't tell the whole story. I stared at her. Okay, I said. Tell me the story. Claire opened her mouth, and for the first time she hesitated. Not because she felt guilty, because she needed to pick which lie fit best. It was a moment, she said finally. Everyone was kissing. It was New Year's. It was stupid. There it was, the first shift. We'd gone from it didn't happen to it was stupid. I nodded. So it happened. Claire's eyes flashed. It wasn't like that. Like what? Like, you're making it into a betrayal, she said. It was a celebration. A celebration, I repeated, with your tongue in another man's mouth. Claire's face twisted. Stop being gross. I almost smiled. Gross, I said. That's what you're focusing on. Claire looked away, then back. You're twisting it, she said. You always twist things to make me the bad guy. I leaned back in my chair. Claire, I said, voice calm. You kissed another man. Then you told me I imagined it. Then you called me unstable. Then you called me insane. I didn't twist anything. You performed it. Her jaw clenched. I said those things because you were acting crazy. I was acting like a man who saw his wife kiss someone, I said. Claire threw her hands up. Oh my God, you are impossible. Impossible, I repeated. Yes, she snapped. You can't just let things go. You have to obsess. You have to punish. I stared at her. Punish, I said. By asking you to admit the truth? Claire's eyes narrowed. This is why I can't relax around you, she said again, like it was a closing argument. I nodded slowly. No, I said. This is why you can't relax around me. Because I don't accept rewritten reality. Claire's breath hitched. So what? She said coldly. You're leaving me because of a New Year's kiss? I watched her carefully. That sentence wasn't just defensive, it was strategic. It shrank the betrayal into something tiny and silly so she could paint me as dramatic. I shrugged slightly. I'm not leaving because of a kiss, I said. Claire's eyes brightened just a little, like she'd found hope. I'm leaving because you looked me in the face and told me I didn't see what I saw, I said. You tried to make me doubt my own eyes. Her face hardened again. So you want me to… What? Beg? I want you to be honest, I said. But I realize now that honesty isn't your reflex. Control is. Claire stood up. You're being cruel, she said. I stayed seated. No, I said. I'm being clear. She pointed at me, voice shaking with anger. You're tearing our marriage apart because you can't handle me having fun. I smiled finally. A real smile. Not because it was funny, because it was so perfectly predictable. There it is, I said. You're still trying to make me the villain. Claire's eyes flashed. Because you are. I nodded once. Okay, I said. Then it should be easy for you when I'm gone. That stopped her. She stared at me like she hadn't considered I'd actually stop arguing and start exiting. What do you mean gone? She asked, suddenly quieter. I stood up. I said, I'm not doing this anymore. Claire's voice turned sharp again, desperate to regain control. So you're just walking out? After everything? I grabbed my jacket. After everything, I repeated. Yes. She stepped closer. You're going to regret this, she said. I looked at her. I already regretted it, I said, for longer than I want to admit. Her face twisted. You're being dramatic. Maybe, I said. Or maybe I finally stopped negotiating with someone who thinks reality is optional. She stared at me, breathing hard, searching for the right button to press. Then she tried the last one. Tears. Not full crying. Just the glossy eyes, the trembling voice. The performance that says, "Look what you're doing to me." "I can't believe you," she whispered. "I didn't even do anything." I turned toward the door. She followed. "Where are you going?" I put my hand on the doorknob. "Out," I said. "Don't you dare," she hissed, and the tears disappeared like they'd never existed. There she was again, the real one. I opened the door. "Happy New Year," I said over my shoulder. Then I left. I stayed with a friend for a couple nights. Not because I needed a couch, because I needed space where my thoughts weren't constantly being argued with. Claire texted. A lot. First it was anger. "You're overreacting. You embarrassed me. You're ruining everything." Then it was sadness. "I can't believe you're doing this. We're supposed to be a team." Then it was bargaining. "Let's talk. Let's reset. Let's not throw away our marriage over something stupid." And through all of it, one thing never changed. She never said, "I'm sorry I lied. I'm sorry I tried to make you feel crazy." She apologized for my feelings, for my reaction, for the misunderstanding, but not for the denial, because the denial was the point. A week later, we finally sat down. Not a dramatic showdown, just two adults at a table, paperwork in the air like invisible fog. Claire looked tired, not sad, tired, like accountability was heavy. "So," she said, voice flat, "you're really doing this?" "Yes," I said. She scoffed. "Over a kiss." I didn't even flinch. "Over the rewrite," I said. "The kiss just revealed it." Claire stared at me. "You act like I'm some monster." "I don't," I said. "I act like you're someone who will tell me the sky is green if it benefits you." She opened her mouth, then closed it. I slid my phone across the table again, not for evidence this time, but as a symbol. "This," I said, "is what you tried to delete." Claire looked away. "It was a mistake," she said quietly. I nodded. "Okay." She looked back at me, eyes narrowing. "So, you want me to say it?" she said. "Fine." I kissed him. "Happy?" "No," I said, honest. "Not happy." Claire's lips pressed tight. "Then what do you want?" I leaned forward slightly. "I want you to understand," I said, "that the worst part wasn't midnight." Claire's eyebrows lifted. "Then what was?" "The way you looked at me," I said. "Like I was crazy. Like I didn't have a right to my own eyes." Claire scoffed. "I was trying to keep you from making a scene." "There it is," I said softly. "You still think the problem was me reacting." Claire's face twisted, frustrated. "Because you always—" I held up a hand. "Don't," I said. "Don't do the always thing. Don't turn this into my flaw. We're past that." She stared at my hand like it offended her. "This is what it is," I said. "I didn't hallucinate. I just wasn't supposed to see it." Claire swallowed. Her voice turned cold. "So you're leaving, and you want me to just— what? Accept it?" I shrugged. "You don't have to accept it," I said. "You just have to stop pretending you didn't cause it." Claire's eyes filled again, but this time the tears didn't look as strategic. Still, I didn't trust them. I'd learned too much. "I can't believe you're throwing away years," she whispered. I nodded. "Neither can I," I said. "But I can believe you tried to rewrite one night." Claire's voice snapped. "You're being cruel." I leaned back. "No," I said. "Cruel would have been staying and letting you keep editing me." That ended the conversation. Not with yelling, not with slammed doors, with silence. Because once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Claire still tells people her version. She says I left over a stupid misunderstanding. She says I got paranoid. She says I made a mountain out of a moment. Sometimes she throws in, he has issues, he can't trust, he needs therapy. Maybe I do need therapy. Most people do. But I don't need therapy to know what I saw. I have the photo. More importantly, I have my mind back. She rewrote the night. I walked away with the truth. If you felt this story hit hard, drop a like, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps Steelheart beating.